I would like to invite Mr. Sanandan Sudhir. He's President and CEO of Invent India and a visiting faculty at NID and IIT set Ahmedabad. Sanandan is an inventor at heart whose complete focus is on IP strategy, product design, development, and manufacturing. He has 32 global patents granted and more than 54 applied. He's here today to deliver a talk on smart design approaches for Industry 4.0. Over to you, Sandy.
Hey, guys. Thank you very much, Neha, for giving me the opportunity to just present here. I'm sitting in a hotel, so you see some nice, interesting environment background. Please enjoy that. I'm just sharing my screen. Okay. So I have the opportunity to talk about product design approaches and how smartness is coming in those. So you've heard a lot of people talking about the factory. Have a wonderful factory. You need a good product. So we as Invent India design, develop, and manufacture new product ideas from scratch. And if you look here, this is a company called Invixium. They came to us, I think, about 8 years back. They wanted to establish a new brand in the biometric space. So we helped them design some sharp branding. That was their brief. Invixium is a name which does not essentially have any meaning in 30 different languages. And the whole idea was that invixium.com should be available. So that was the inspiration behind the name. We've done all their design collaterals. And so all the products that you see here, we have designed them, and their brochures, catalogs are all designed by us. So that's, again, something that's very important. You need to start with the branding. You need to have good quality collaterals. Of course, you need to do the good quality products as well. And then you need to have a great looking web page that really showcases the product. There's a lot of videos, animations to explain the product from inside, outside, especially if it's a new product. And then, of course, we're supporting them in design of their portals and the apps which work with the products. Another important thing along with the product is what you're communicating. So your whole online communication strategy will actually define your online presence, your media presence, and the image that you build. So this particular product is the Apple of biometric industry. It's like the most respected company at present in the world in the biometric space because they have the absolute best products on the market. And that was the brief that was given to us. So if you have to establish a brand like that, you have to worry about branding. You have to worry about the overall look and feel of whatever web presence you have, which includes all the EDMs that you share. So for example, whatever you're seeing on the screen are things that go out of their mailbox to people every week, every month, and so on. And then, you need to have nice looking videos that show product launches, and also showcase the product usage. So it's the communication age as far as Industry 4.0 is concerned. Having presence online, offline is extremely important. So having visual content that really communicates with your audience is one of the most important aspects. Then, of course, it comes down to hardcore product design, which has to be intelligent, which has to be eye-catching, which has to be visually ahead of time. So as far as the form is concerned, the trends are concerned, you have to look at the latest products that are being designed, the latest award-winning products, and looking at them, you have to have your product that is the right fit. It is either in time or a little bit ahead of time so that people don't get scared or people don't think, oh, this is too far ahead. And people also don't feel that, no, this is retro. I have seen a lot of products like these. This is all past and so on. So this is a rugged range of products that we have done. And the central one is the latest design, which also can identify temperature from your eyes and then allow you access with facial recognition, understanding the temperature. So if you're not well, basically it will not allow you access. So contactless access in a very, very short span of time, you can kind of literally stand in front of the door and just walk in. Then this is another range, which is more of the commercial range, which is for large and small commercial places as well as homes. And so to build a brand, you also need to consider that your product ranges you should have enough diversification in terms of your overall product range. You have products that fit most of the niche markets if you're a high-end top-end product, and if you're a mid to low-end product, then it should be at a price point that is acceptable to huge audiences. Along with that, we support these companies with a lot of exploded views, like what you see on the top right, to explain how the product is to be installed. This, again, is now moving to animations. So there was a time where you would have a detailed leaflet, a booklet that would come with the product that talks of the installation process and so on. We still have that, but as we move forward, we need to catch up with the technology, and there should be just a small QR code or barcode which you can scan, and you should be able to see everything online in detail with intense exploded views and videos that clearly show how your product is to be assembled, so that the consumer is really happy buying your product, and in the shortest span of time, he's able to manage whatever he has to. So you have a great product now. What is important is that it has to be showcased properly to the world. So that's the last mile. You have to do marketing, you have to do online marketing, you have to do offline marketing. There are a lot of platforms like Kickstarter and Indiegogo where you can do crowdfunding of your products online. But for products like these, people need to feel the product. People need to see how quickly it works, which actually cannot be explained so well online. So participating in shows, and then again, having very nice quality audiovisual experiences for people who come in AR, VR, all inclusive, is something that is important. And if you see here on the right hand side, there are some boxes in which there's a lot of water and the product is there. So that whole when you say if it's IP65 or IP67, which means that you can splash water on it or nothing will happen, it has to be visually depicted so people get convinced. So product design is a big part of it, product design and development and engineering. And after that, manufacturing is another big part of it. And then I think the biggest part is being able to visually represent your company, your brand, your product in a way that people feel that, wow, this is something that we really want. And so in the last 8 years, this product has become almost the best product in this particular industry. There are no competing products here. And as I said, it's called the Apple of biometric industry. So it demands an intense effort right from beginning to the end. And I will come to that effort and what are the steps required. Let me just quickly take you through a lot of other products that we have designed. So we work with consumer appliances. We have some interesting products like universal power banks that can attach to any mobile phone. We have done rugged mobile phones, other kind of POS devices, 3D, 2D barcode scanners, a lot of medical devices. I have background from GE Healthcare, so I've done about 35 medical products as a part of GE Medical Systems. And now we keep working with medical devices, as you can see on the screen. We have done a lot of laboratory equipment. And again, what you see on the right side is a product from BTL, which is the smallest wireless ECG product. On the bottom, you see some centrifuges that we have done. And this is, again, a range of security devices. And these are all representation slides. So for most of these companies, we have done 8 products, 10 products, and completely changed their portfolios and so on. We've also done about 10, 15 wearables till date. So what you see on the bottom right is a fully automatic manual mechanical watch with a transparent TOLED screen on top that can do everything like your Apple Watch can do. So essentially, if you run out of your battery, you still have a mechanical watch with you. What you see on the top right is a haptic device. What you see on the left is a camera on your wrist. What you see in the middle is for old people. And we've done a whole range of products like these as well. So coming to the details, so whatever you saw, this is what it goes through. These are all the steps that, I think are extremely important for a product to be successful in the market right from the beginning. So design research, which is the first key step, is really, really important. If you don't know exactly what you're doing, if you're not very clear about the product that you're designing, you may go further to engineering, to prototyping, and suddenly you may realize, oh God, I did something, and now I suddenly find that I am in a Me Too space. There's so many other products that have been done in that space. So design research, understanding the right price point, who is my customer audience, is extremely critical from product development perspective. And I'm sure most of you who are doing that, they're doing that, and that's how they're able to find the opportunity. But when you have the opportunity, validating that opportunity, understanding that you have at least 3x, 4x, 10x factor, wow factor, at least, either in speed, you can do things much faster, or you can do them in a much better way, or the experience is great, or it's like 10x cheaper. So you have to bring in some element on the basis of your research that really distinguishes or differentiates you from any of the existing products that are market in that particular competing space. Once you have done that, the second very important step is the innovation and IP strategy. So when I say innovation and IP strategy, what I mean is that you may have a brilliant idea, but that brilliant idea, there are so many other people on the planet who also might be thinking about. And if that's the case, there's a high probability that somebody would have filed for a patent for the same idea somewhere else in the world. So at this stage, right in the beginning, again, it's extremely important to understand, in future, is there anybody who can stop me from making this product? How can somebody stop you? Because they already have a granted patent or a patent applied for in your geography where you want to sell, and suddenly you realize that you can't sell. So understanding what the world is doing, and I'll explain this a little bit more in detail later, is extremely important at a very early stage. Otherwise, again, you reach your prototyping stage, you showcase it to a few people, maybe you put it online, or you go to a trade show and suddenly somebody says, look, you have to get out of this trade show. You can't sell this product because this is my intellectual property. So let's say your intellectual property is in place. Now, the most important part is product design. So what is product design? Most of us understand product design as jugaad, which means we have put together components. Here is my Arduino or Raspberry Pi board. Here is some box that I managed from somewhere. I have connected a few sensors and my technology works. Wow, that's great. That's great product design. And somehow we also feel that that's enough. It works, man, it works. It's great, it's brilliant. It's a great achievement at a technology or technical level that we have a great product that works. But people who have to spend money, they are aspiration-based. They need to aspire to buy the product. So you really feel like when you see a Maserati or when you see a great car, any car, you aspire for it. You say, wow, what design, man, what brilliance. If that Maserati was, let's say, a jugaad, which could run really that fast, which could really do all those maneuvers, but didn't look what it looks like, or any of your Toyotas or Hondas or whatever, would you buy that? So for human beings, connecting to forms, connecting to things that are around is extremely important. Anything that is very industrial, we feel, keep it to the industry. Don't focus on that in the house. I mean, my wife would not like anything that looks industrial lying in our drawing room. So, but still the products do the same thing. So if you have a nicely designed robot that's bringing you food in your room, it is essentially a hardcore IT-based industrial machine. But it looks like a human being because human interface is extremely important. So the aesthetics, the way it works, the ergonomics, how you interact with the product, how comfortable it is for you to perceive that product. And it's not necessary that everything needs to be very comfortable. Like if you see a device in a hospital, you want to stay away from that. And the form of that product needs to tell you that you should stay away from me. This is not something that is for you to just come and play around. So product design is extremely important to communicate the intent, to communicate what the product is meant for. Is it for your drawing room or is it for a hospital? And the understanding of that intention is extremely important. And those elements need to come down to the form factors so that the communication is clear. Semantically, what you see as the product is is what it does. And there should be no conflict in your mind regarding that. Okay, so when you have a great looking product, now it has to be a nicely engineered product. You would have seen people saying that if you open an Apple product, from inside also it's beautiful, and that was their intent. And that's why, if you remember, one of their PCs they made almost transparent so that you could see inside. So what I'm saying is that beauty or aesthetics is something that is not only for exteriors. When you're doing engineering, you should also enjoy that. It should look good. It should look, the wires need to be very well organized. It should look systematic, all in place, in time, and you should feel happy opening a product. So product design, engineering, and prototyping, when you have done your product design and engineering, prototype becomes key, because now you get all the parts made, you put it together, and then you've already put everything together. You now have to ensure that it works with the customer. So you look at your design research, you go back to your audience, you again check with your prototype, am I infringing anybody else's patent? Because in your whole process, you may have changed a few things and so on. And then once you have done your prototyping, you go for tooling and manufacturing? Really? No, that's the whole point. When you're doing a new product, this product design, engineering, prototype, there is nothing first time, right? This is going to go in a cyclical way. This is going to keep going on and on. You make the prototype, you have problems, you come back to product design, you do engineering, you prototyping, you again have problems, you go back, and sometimes you go back to IP because now in your new solution, you have more intellectual property and so on. So keep circling in this, and I'm going to explain this in more detail later. And then once your product is ready, you go ahead with certification, and then again, tooling and manufacturing is done. Another important point that I want to say here is that when you have a good working prototype, I would say you're only 40% done. The amount of effort that is required to work with the right vendors, to get the right parts at the right price point, to make sure that design for manufacturing is taken care of, to ensure that failure mode analysis is taken care of, to ensure that you have proper logistics in place, you have a supply chain, and at the right price point, you're able to supply the product to your distributor or dealer so that he can further sell it, is extremely important. And all that is beyond your prototyping stage. So many of us feel that, oh, we have the prototype, now we are ready to launch. That's not the case, because while going through your tooling and certification process, you're again going to cyclically go through the product design, engineering, and prototyping stage. What is at the bottom is what I showed you: communication design, user interface design, product packaging, photography and rendering, animations, digital marketing, crowdfunding. All these elements are important aspects of product development, but at present, we are going to focus on the top bit. So in the process, the product design, engineering, and prototype will go through iterations and will keep going through iterations. And that's the most important part of product development, the refinement from concept 1 to concept B to prototype 1 to prototype 2 to 3. And these various versions should be incremental or drastic improvements from the last one. If you think that you are done in one iteration, either you are superhuman, or whatever you have chosen to do is a Me Too product, which means you have enough references around, you just picked up something from here, there, you put it together, and in your first iteration, you are done. If you go back to the history of any big company like Dyson or Apple, they have spent a huge chunk of time, 5, 7, 10 years of their time in developing the product and taking it to that level of quality. Let me explain this a bit more. So Jugaad is the starting process of product design. So, which means that if you're trying to develop a product, you just put things together from wherever and just make sure that somehow it works. And the important thing is that you don't stop there. So what you see on the left is a product that we have developed, which is a microwave cooking device where the microwaves come from the lid, and from the flame, from the base, you can cook. So simultaneously, you have 2.5 times the amount of energy in the container that can cook you in about 30% time, that can save about 40% energy, and so on. It's patent granted in different geographies of the world. But what I'm trying to show you is that this is the first prototype in 2011. And Jyoti, what you see, she's there. She's my wife, and she was just not, and she's also a part of Invent India. She is actually the CEO of the company. I'm just the design head. So she is trying to lift the head, which is about 7.5 kgs. And she said, no, this product will not sell. Don't do it, move on. And then what you see on the right-hand side again is another version of that, where the top, we split it into different pieces, and then everything split onto the right, what you see on the right-hand side. And then you see a scale and some foam pieces lying there. That is to avoid any kind of noise from the microwaves going into the induction plate at the bottom. So those two images were to just give you an idea of the beginnings or of the initial preliminary jugaads that you have to do when you're coming up with something which is new, because you need to validate. So though it was very difficult for Jyoti to pick it up, but that's still a concept that worked. What you see on the right here, though it is just a jugaad, it's like an induction plate, and somehow all the microwave transformer and all put in a box at the back, and then the microwave lid on top. Though it is just a jugaad, but it works. So you have to have the initial proof of concepts which work. So this is something that we started with, you just saw. So it was too heavy, too large. What we did, we split electronics, then we bring it here. Now it's just the magnetron on the top on the container. It became too hot. So the magnetron started to burn because of the flame from below. Then in the third iteration, we actually shifted the top towards the back. So now you have electronics at the back, and the lid could open and close. And then we had some power-related issues. So we refined it, we changed the power requirements, and then we came to the fifth generation of prototypes, where you have now a more organized hinge detail around which it could open and close. And then we realized, oh, we don't have enough safety here because the microwaves are leaking. So we created a microwave hook here. And then in the next generation products, this was more organized, more detailed out. And then from here, we moved to the absolute next generation, where you have now digital displays. This works with the app. And in the next version, now it talks to you. It is Alexa enabled. And now while you're cooking, it'll tell you close the lid, open the lid, add some onions, add some masala, and so on. And the ninth generation that we are at present prototyping is the one which has two magnetrons on top, which is about 3.4 kilowatt of induction at the bottom. And so when you close the lid, you have about 6-7 kilowatts of energy in this. And in the 10th generation, we are making cooking ranges. So these two are in development. We are here at present in the overall process. All what I'm trying to say is that this iterative process here just gets to a stage where you can go for certification, can take you these many iterations if you are trying to do something really new, which is inventive and which is done for the first time. So after all these iterations, here is the product. Here is the current status of the product. So this is almost ready. We still need to go for certification with this, but almost all other aspects are ready. It is fully IoT enabled. With the app, you can order any recipe. And then once the recipe comes, you can prepare using the device. And once the device knows what is to be done, it'll just guide you. And it'll automatically change the time and temperature, both for microwaves and for the induction or flame at the bottom. So what do you get after this whole research? You can save 70% time. You can cook rice in 5 minutes. So now this product has the potential to reach every household. It can every commercial kitchen, because you save 70% time and 40% energy. And the cooked food is better quality because microwaves cook the food from inside, flame makes it brown from outside. You get the best of both the worlds. But to reach this stage, you start from this first iteration of just putting everything together and putting it onto a large container. Just see, do I have something that works? And then product mix. So at this stage, once you reach a level, let's say maybe at 7th, 8th generation, once you reach a level where you know that you have a product that makes sense or that has started to make sense, you have to look for investment, of course, but as you have the investment, then you have to look for now, how do I expand it to different audiences? So there are people who use stuff, so a microwave and stuff combination. And then there are people who don't use stuff. They don't have access to gas in the world. So you have a microwave and induction combination, which you saw in the last slide here. So here at the bottom right, this is just induction based. So the right product mix, making it higher capacity, making it lower capacity, and then to fit the right price point, fit the right audience is critical. So what you see the bottom right is again a user need, because people say, look, even if I make one thing quickly, how does it help? My dal is prepared quickly, but my vegetables still need to be done. My rice needs to be done. And if I'm doing it in sequence, it doesn't make sense. So now we're working on a dual unit and also maybe another flame source in the center or induction source in the center. So you have 3 chullas and 2 microwave units, and which is upgradable. You can just buy one to begin with and so on. When you see the extreme bottom left, this is a chimney-based product. So here you just bring it down from the top, and this is still under development, but that's the idea. So the whole point is that once you have your technology there, you have to create the right product mix. And that product mix should cater to an audience which is in a restaurant, an audience which is at home, an audience which does not have space, so it has to come from chimney, an audience that needs many of these together, and so on. And so that's how you kind of develop the whole product range and take it forward. Now, this whole journey, it also means that starting from this first idea, you have to start filing for patents. So if you come here, if you see the top first patent, the cooking apparatus patent here, this was filed long back in 2010. And then we have some CIP applications, which are continuation in part, which means we're improving the product and filing more patents. These initial patents are all granted, and some of them are published, and some more are getting granted in near future, and some provisional is filed. And then you are looking at filing more applications as you focus on AI and understanding of thermal sensors and IR images and how you're putting that together and so on. So, and then again, if you see there's family 1, family 2, family 3, family 4, this just means that with one core technology, you have filed this whole range of patents. And then with another additional technological change, which is different from the first one, you have another range of patents and then another range of patents and then another range of patents. That's how you essentially protect your product. You have to make sure that whatever you're doing, if you have to build a global business, and that's what we stand for, being in India, being Indians, we need to invent, and we need to take this world to the next level by inventing in India. Make in India, Modi's vision, great vision. But we have to make things that are also invented in India, so that 1:4 or 1:6 that Apple is able to do in terms of their revenues and profit margins, we should be able to do as well, vis-a-vis just getting 5-7% of the manufacturing cost of a make in India kind of a product. Okay. So this is what I show you here is the patents that we have filed for one product or one product category. Here, what I want you guys to see is the typical evolution of how patents are filed by different companies globally. If you actually look at this screen, at the bottom portion, you have starting from 1988 up to 2020, a whole range of patents being filed. So what is the vertical axis? The vertical axis is the number of patents filed in that particular year. And on the horizontal axis, of course, the year. And what you see under legend is the companies who are filing these patents. So you can look at IBM, Microsoft, Intel, Dell, Samsung, Fujitsu, and so on. All these companies are filing patents starting from 1988 to 2020. What does this mean? So if you look at the initial patents, look at 1988, 89, and look at the color. That's IBM. And then Microsoft Corporation. And then the green comes in. And then the oranges and the reds and the blues and the various shades of blues come in. So there is somebody who is taking a lead right in the beginning to make a mouse and a keyboard or a mouse and a keyboard combination. When? Starting in 1988. And as we move forward, more and more people jump in, more and more people, file more patents for keyboards and mouse. And this is how the scenario looks. So if you look at the extreme left, you have initial ideas, very initial ideas, like the very first mouse that Apple had done or IBM had done. Very few buyers for computers, and then, so of course, very few buyers for the mouse as well, and the keyboards as well. And so that's the time when the technologies is in the process of being accepted. Not accepted yet, because somebody among the top CEOs of one of the top companies said, oh, in the home market, it's just about 6 computers market globally. This is just an industrial product. But then starting from there, as you come from 1999 onwards up to 2005-06, you have more companies filing for patents and more products coming in. Some of the images are wrong here, so don't go with all the images, but just get the intent.
Sorry to interrupt. We are running short of time.
This is the last slide.
Yeah, sure. Great. Thank you.
Okay. So if you look at 2006 onwards, you suddenly see a spike in the number of patents. And what is happening at this stage is that there are a lot of people who now feel that, yes, we should design a mouse. We should design a new mouse. We should design a new keyboard, and we should integrate the keys on the side, on the top. We should put a ball in the middle. And so people try a lot of these things here. Then if you look at beyond 2012, consolidation happens. And in consolidation, you have now keypads and balls getting integrated. You have more refined products that are coming into the scene. And when you come to the niche product category and the value engineering product category, here you're slowly splitting up. So by splitting up, I mean you have the real low-cost products. Humko to 50 rupees mein mouse banana hai. And then you have the real high-end products, which are like a 4D mouse that can work with AR, VR, so that you can visualize anything. Then form factors, which are more vertical, and then the gaming mouse. So what I'm trying to show you here is that starting from 1998 to 2006, when the basic acceptance for this technology is being developed, is perhaps the right time to enter in a product category. If you are at 2006, 2007 developing a mouse, in high probability, whatever you will make will sell, because it'll be something different, it'll be something new, and there's a lot of exploration possible still. If you are between 2012 and 2015 developing a product, you better look at everything that has been designed before. You put it together, try and understand what kind of integration and consolidation I should do that may make sense as a product category. And then if you are beyond 2016, 17, either you go cheap, I make millions of mouse at 50 rupees, or you go niche, and I'm just going to address this 3D, 4D mouse market, or I'm going to address this only gaming mouse market. So market segmentation is properly done. You have clear areas where a person would need a particular device. So my request to you is that if you really want to invent, you have to start in the initial stage. You have to start when less patents are filed and there is still a lot of scope for innovation. And many of us, or most of us, they see a lot of products in the market, and then they try and start at 2017, 18, 19 timeframe for a product category like this. And they are left with only reducing the cost. Okay, there are so many IoT lights available. Let me make a new light, but I'm going to make it half the price or 1/3 the price. That's also a good approach because you have huge volumes in India possible, but that's an approach where intellectual property is very difficult. So that's why you see in 2018, 19, 20, 21, there are almost no patents filed. Very, very few. The patent era is gone. The key patents have been taken up by the key players, and they are making those products. And for the next 20 years, they are protected, and their game is going to be the key game. Unless somebody comes up with a real new technology that can do something to this particular product category. That's it from my side. That's my email ID. If you guys want to understand anything more, you guys are most welcome. my request to all of you is please invent. Please create products. Please create stuff that is going to change the world. Me Too products, yes, you can do, but you guys are all young. Just start with something that's going to change the world. Do something fantabulous. Sell it all over the world. And if we can be of any help, let us know. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy, for talking about the role of smart designs in smart manufacturing. And thank you for your motivation to our young generation to invent before innovate. That was really a thought-provoking session for our listeners. I hope all our listeners have enjoyed in listening to you. Thank you. Thank you very much for taking out time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Neha.